What's up, guys? Today we're talking about The Final Destination. Hey guys, I'm Tyler. Welcome back to my channel. And yep, we're still doing some franchise chats, and we got Final Destination today. Or should I say, The Final Destination. Oh, god damn. So, for those that have been following along, I absolutely love the first film. I'm pretty mixed regarding the second film, and absolutely love the third film. Keeping with this trend, this one is fairly mixed. Honestly, no, it's not even fairly mixed. I don't like this movie. Like, it's the one in the franchise that I consider to be so bad it's good, which even then it's hard to say because it's like, I consider it to be like not amazing, but I still get entertainment out of it. But that's not enough when it comes to the Final Destination series. I want more. I come for the fun kills, more so the journey of our lead as they're trying to save their friends, their random strangers, which is as it amounts with a lot of these. Which, by the way, I think that's a reason I really like the third one and the first one, because they know each other. Even if they're not friends, they're not strangers, which is a pretty big deal, because in the second and the fourth one, they're just strangers. Sure, there's some people that know each other, but for the most part, they're just strangers, which just does not fucking work. But let's get into it, because I don't really know how much I have to say about this one. I'm really kind of worried that it's not gonna be nearly as long as the others, but that's okay. Whatever length this ends up being, that's just the length it ends up being. So let's get into it. The intro of this film, they completely forego the usual intro of where it's all this ominous stuff. Instead, it's set to fucking like rock music, and it is this CGI recreation of most of the main deaths from the series in like X-ray form. I don't like it, and I especially don't like what it means for the ending, but we'll obviously get into that. It goes very against the first three, in that the first three films are setting up this dark, ominous tone with a certain theme, especially with the third one where they have it be the carnival. But then in this, it's just kind of like, we'll just do a best of. This is the Final Destination. I don't know if they were trying to like make this the final one in the series. The Final like, I don't get the marketing behind that. Honestly, I just need to start calling it Final Destination 4. I would love it if they would just rebrand it. That'd be nice. Otherwise, all this shit just gets so goddamn confusing. It's just like when I'm talking about the first film, I'll accidentally say the Final Destination. It's like, oh, no. Not the Final Destination, just this makes things so much more complicated. But yeah, getting into the intro. So this is directed by the same guy that did 2. And I noticed in that like intro thing, they give a lot of like screen time to the kills in 2, but to the point where I'm like, wait, why is this first? Wait, why? And then it goes into the first one, and then it does 2 again, and then it's like 3 where it's like, wait, what? Why not like just do it in order? That way we get some kind of like some form of continuity between like them being sequential. I don't get why they did it like how they did. It's just weird. It's all there is to it. It's just fucking weird. I get annoyed by most of what they do in this film, and it's mostly because of David Ellis, because Ellis just has this really weird idea for what these films are, and you know, teenage me kind of dug him, but the older I get, the more I just don't see the appeal in his films. God, this franchise chat, especially for the second one and this one, it's really turned into fucking bash some fucking David R. Ellis, but just spitting facts. Another issue that I have with this is that there's not really good setup, and like it goes right from the intro right into the crash. Right when we're introduced to our lead, it's the moment that he's gonna come back to in his like when he has his premonition. So like that's just, it's way too quick. We need more setup with these characters, which I can just hear Ellis going, they're all gonna die anyway, we don't need to know these people. It just makes things even more cheap and these characters even less dimensional, which is really unfortunate. The characters are definitely the biggest issue in this film, in that I can't tell a fucking damn, I don't know any of the names of the characters in this. Fuck, I guess should I look? Maybe I should look this up. Final Destination. No, not the first one. I need the fourth one. Hunt. Okay, so these are the first 4 character names that are listed on IMDb. Hunt, MILF, Mechanic, and Nick. Okay. So Nick is our lead. Nick and Lori are like, Lori is his girlfriend, and unfortunately, he's like, Nick is a very, very bland lead, and the actor that actually has some charisma and is interesting is the best friend, Hunt, who is a cunt. Like, he is such an asshole, but it can be so endearing at different points. Like, it's very much like he should have been more of like the Carter in that, where it's like they're almost redeemed by the end. But no, they just like pile onto it more and more. And by the end, you're just like, I mean, he's an asshole, so I guess he deserves it. But still, it's just, I don't know. He's probably the most fun. Like, when he's on screen, it's the most fun that you have in the film. He like has his binoculars that have Jim Beam in them. I think, yeah, not Jack Daniels, because that was the whole joke they do. Yeah, fucking stupid. But yeah, they get into the crash, which, this is kind of another one of my issues with this film, is that in a lot of the other movies, they're taking regular everyday things or seemingly everyday things. Like, obviously you don't go on a roller coaster every day, but damn near everyone has been on a roller coaster in their life and has like thought of like, oh, what could go wrong here? I've never been to a fucking NASCAR event, and I've never, like, it's never gonna be in my future. I don't have any interest, and so that already makes things like, who cares? Plus the fact that we've already been through this in the second one. Like, we've already seen a crash, which just means that the car crash itself is just kind of the thing that sets up this other shit. Like, none of it makes sense. The people, like, whoever's in the car that gets like spun over, whoever that driver is, they probably die. But otherwise, it's like the tire that comes off essentially decapitates this girl, and that's really it in terms of the vehicle doing stuff. It's more just like, oh, so this fucked up the structure, and so this person fell onto a bench that broke, this part of the building collapsed, these people got set on fire. Like, it's not things of like, oh, this accident caused this accident, which it's literally one thing that then just breaks the building. So it's very uncreative, which again is kind of the theme of this film, just being very uncreative, because at this point the kills are the star of the show. Especially listening to one of the New Line execs and one in the documentary for part 3, the point they were trying to get across is like, this people show up for the kills, that's all they care about. They even like reshot some of the deaths in 3 to like make them hit harder. And so I'm pretty sure that was the main note in this film, was just have some crazy deaths, because yeah, there's a bunch of crazy deaths and they're more silly than anything. Though I did like that they kind of brought back the like ominous force of death rather than circumstance. It actually feels like, oh, there's a like almost invisible force that's causing these things, which I like, because that's what's set up in the first film. I'm glad that carried over finally, especially by the third one. The third one, they pretty much get away from that completely, because in the first one you could even see like they had like this weird like smoky thing that represented death, and I've always enjoyed that, but I also understand if everyone's not into that. But I still got a kick out of it. The whole race car accident just isn't really much of anything. And same with like when like he takes them out, it's just not, I don't know, it just doesn't matter as much. It just doesn't hit all the notes. It falls flat. Very, very much just falls flat. Yeah, I don't want to talk about this fucking intro anymore. So let's just get into the kills, because that's really all this is about. All of our characters are very like, they seem to accept this in terms of our leads. They pretty much accept the whole death thing, because ever since the first film, rather than, you know, actually having these characters try and figure these things out, it's more or less just like, oh, well, did you hear about Flight 180? They, all these people got off because they got out of premonition, and then they all died within like 6 months in these crazy accidents. So again, just a little less laziness. I get that, you kind of want to keep things moving, but shit, this movie's fucking, this is like what, a brisk 88 minutes, something like that. It's very, very quick. They could have used just a little bit more explanation. Yeah, they don't really do a whole lot with any of the characters. They're really just set up to die. God, they have this redneck character who's like super racist and blames the security guard from, like, he blames him for his wife's death because he wouldn't let him go back into the like fucked up building that's falling apart with the crashes. Which, I mean, yeah, because he's being a human being, and he's like, no, you can't go in. Like, no, I understand, like, you want to go back in there because you care about your wife, but like, you're just gonna die. But this guy can't understand that because he's a racist, and the dude fucking Bubba Gump, or Bubba something from Forrest Gump. I don't remember. I always call him Bubba Gump, even though it's not. It's Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. Either fucking way, it doesn't matter. He's set up as like, oh, fuck this black dude. So then he's gonna go put a fucking burning cross on this guy's lawn. I mean, this is kind of where Death is kind of a bro, and he helps out, and he's like, fuck this racist, and just essentially locks the guy's car, puts it in gear. This hook that comes off starts dragging him away, which then the gas that's on the back falls over and then gets on him, and the sparks from the hook fucking spark, and it's so absurd. So absurd, but it's great. It's so silly, but I love how silly it is, because it could be a lot. I don't know. It's stupid, but again, like I was saying earlier, this goes into like the so bad it's good. Unlike with the second film, where I'm like, ooh, some people say this is like, make arguments that that's the best film in the series. So with this one, I'm like, everyone knows this is the worst in the series and seems to understand that it's just not up to snuff. So I can forgive these things. He ends up getting burnt, and then fucking crazy explosion which blows off his head somehow, which again, everything is just turned up to 11 in this. Then we have the MILF character as played by Krista Allen, which it's so funny that even on IMDb it says MILF. But she's she's super hot. Like, I was real into her when like this movie came out, so that was cool, but she's just not much of a character. She's essentially going to get like her hair done, and it reminds me of like the dentist scene. Oh, I guess I have it in the fifth one as well, but then in the second one, just reminds me of that same kind of concept where it's like, oh, is it this, is it this, is it this, and then it's something else entirely. This other thing entirely is like really fucking silly. It's literally like a lawnmower blade throws, I think it's a rock or something, throws it, and it fucking goes into her eye and pierces her brain. She dies instantly. Where again, it's just like all this setup for very little payoff. So I've talked about this before, how a good kill is, especially in these kinds of films, it's like a good joke where you really need the setup to really, the setup has to be good in order the punchline to hit home, and this punchline was just felt incomplete. And so, yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. Then we have Janet. Wait, isn't that right in terms of the number of deaths? Oh, it might be actually Hunt next. So Hunt, he's essentially slanging dong like crazy. I guess he agrees that death is coming after them, so he's just gonna fuck as much as possible. Because that's like kind of what I get from it, at least. He could just be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna fuck as much as possible regardless. In terms of how his character's set up, it makes sense. So he's done fucking next to the pool, which, I mean, okay, I guess that happens. With this rando that he finds, who's super hot. Somehow he gets like pulled under after like because he's trying to get this kid with a squirt gun. I don't. It's so stupid. It's like you can't get him in the pool in a better way than that. He goes in. He goes under, and the suction at the bottom of the pool fucking brings him down. Like, and he gets stuck like ass first. Again, this is so fucking dumb. This movie could be fucking Mystery Science Theater or like How Did This Get Made? That's how fucking dumb this whole thing is. Oh fuck. Okay, but because it essentially disembowels him, where it like sucks all that out, where it even somewhat like shows like him like going in a bit, and then it shows the pump like with all this brain, and I think or all this blood, and I think it even shows like intestine, which again it's silly and takes things a little bit too far. I don't know. I'm in for these to be like a little more grounded, a little more, I don't know, cool. This is just kind of silly. Like, hey, that guy's stuck on the bottom of a pool ass first. Especially with how long it takes. It's like, ooh, how much he's struggling. He'd be drowned by now. So that's dumb. But then it goes into like Janet, who I like the concept of this because Janet's is actually set in she's in a car wash. So I get a kick out of that. It's because, I mean, again, when it's these everyday things, it makes a lot more sense. It just, because you're able to put yourself in their shoes, and it gets you thinking about the movie afterwards and in circumstances where you wouldn't have even thought about it, because you're like, oh, haven't seen that movie in a long time, but it's been 5 years since I've seen it, but hey, just went through some car wash, and that's the first thing I thought of. I know that's just something that comes to mind for me personally. Ultimately, especially since she gets like saved, it's just kind of like, it's whatever. It happened. But also, so is that supposed to imply that death skipped her, or because that seemed to be the implication, but then the whole ending doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But we'll get to that. We get this whole thing in like a movie theater, which is again just really fucking stupid. And this is like came out around the time of all the 3D craze, and so this movie was in 3D, and it plays off of that a lot, and it's just really fucking stupid. Like they're adding all these screens, which then a bunch of shit happens because Death's fucking with shit, and it blows up the theater, which then fucks up the mall, which like sets up all these deaths. And there's a lot of issues with this because it's like, wait a minute, so were all these people supposed to die, or is Death fucking killing like hundreds of people just in order to get a couple? Because it seems like that would fuck up Death's plan a hell of a lot more than just a couple people getting away. And then it's also weird because like they treat it as like a premonition where all the leads die, and then it's like, oh well, actually this is a premonition, you have time to save most people, even though his premonition, he comes back right when someone gets hit in the bus, FD1 style. It's actually Bubba Gump. But the thing that I don't understand is, so Nick knows the theater that is going to explode, and so he knows where his girlfriend is. Why is he not going in to save her? Why is he going in to try and fucking like stop the theater from exploding? He has enough time because like he took a long time trying to find her the first time, so it's like, dude, just go directly to her and then you guys can both try and stop it. But no, instead he goes without saying anything to her and just tries to stop it all like backstage. And so yeah, it's just kind of dumb. I didn't like that. Just fucking stupid. Really stupid. Especially because it's like, okay, well, there's a lot of, like, with an escalator, there's definitely cool things to do with it, but instead of, like, doing something cool, it's like, oh, no, we'll just explode the building around it, so then the escalator falls and, like, breaks apart, so then you have, like, someone falls into it. Where it's like, yeah, but why don't you just do, like, more everyday stuff that we can get scared of, rather than this fucking dumb building blowing up. So we have our three characters, just like in the third film, that seemingly made it through, and they're hanging out at this coffee shop, and what's his name, Nick, comes to the conclusion that, wait a minute, what if this was the plan all along? What if Death was wanting them right there at that moment? And then it switches to CGI, like the fucking beginning, the X-ray CGI, and they all get fucking killed. So stupid. But the stupidest aspect of it is that no, they weren't. Death wasn't waiting for them to do like for any of this, because you got a premonition and stopped all of this. Like, yeah, this may be Death setting up another thing, but it's not. You're gonna like get out of all these different things, and then 3 months down the road, I'm going to get you when you guys are all in this coffee shop. No, that's not how it is. Also, I think that the order doesn't make any sense during that little ending thing, because the friend Janet should die first, but she doesn't, at least not to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure it's Nick that gets taken out first, though I could easily be wrong, because of their fucking X-ray skeletons that we're seeing, not the actual characters. So all that investment, and it's like, it doesn't even fucking matter. I'm real curious if this couldn't have just been something they added to the end, like with a reshoot. There's no way, but it wouldn't surprise me. Really, really wouldn't surprise me, because David Ellis, yeah, he's definitely all about the popcorny movies. So very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Yeah, that's really all. I stretched this out as long as I could. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. I'm also running out of time on my camera. So yeah, that's it. The Final Destination sucks. If you are a completionist, I would say watch it. If you like So Bad It's Good, then yeah, I guess it's worth your time. But don't expect anything on par with the rest of the series. In fact, just go from the third one to the fifth one, which is what we're talking about next week, because it's all Final Destination 5. And spoiler alert, I fucking love this movie. We'll see you next week. Hey friends, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and check out this video that YouTube thinks that you would like.